Rachel, why is women's health, femtech, etc., having a moment right now? I mean, it really seems to be exploding. I'd love your thoughts on this.
Why is women's health so big right now? It's funny, as someone who's been in the space for so long, to think of that, to think of it that way, because for me it's been a slow burn. But there has been, it does appear as if there's been an accelerant poured onto the fire, and I think there are a number of factors that have given rise to this. Number one, there are a lot more women founding companies. There are a lot more women with money who are in a position to invest in these companies. There are many women who have achieved some success in their careers, and they're experiencing these problems for the first time, such as menopause, and realizing that there's no solution. One of the things that we really saw during COVID, which I think was really pretty amazing, was that for the first time that I can recall, we were comparing health, women's health, and family health to economic opportunity. So when we saw that moms were staying home and not going to work because they couldn't, because kids weren't in school and we didn't have a safety net from a childcare perspective, it became very clear that that was having not just a health impact on families, but a financial impact on families. It made it more difficult to do your job. It made it more difficult to go back to your job. It made it more difficult to get promoted in your job. So there are some realities that we started seeing the connection between women's health and their ability to function in the marketplace. The second piece, as I mentioned, is, there are 1.1 billion women in menopause on the planet right now. Every day, 6,000 women go into menopause in the US. And so it also correlates with people who are older and hopefully wiser in their careers. So they have more access potentially to time, they have potentially more access to money, and they have more time to think about why there hasn't been a solution for this. So, as I said, the first one is economic. The second one is there's a demographic with money. The third piece is very similar to what we saw when companies, tech companies especially, started offering fertility and family building benefits to employees. It was an economic decision. Companies were seeing that their best and brightest were leaving the workforce during their very high productive career growing years, and they understood that it was because it, for many people, was difficult to build a family and to raise a family while also aggressively pursuing your career. So the solution of bringing benefits was a way to make employees happy, was a way to provide needs that families needed, but it was also a way to retain employees. And we're seeing the very same thing right now with menopause. 20% of the US workforce is in menopause. A startling percentage, close to 50% of women in menopause in the workplace at some point have thought about leaving their jobs versus having to manage the symptoms in the workplace. And so when you put all those things together, more voices, more money, you see the economic argument, you see companies starting to recognize how valuable these employees were. And then the final thing you mix in is these cultural moments that awaken the world to conversations that many of us have been having for a long time. What do I mean by that? I like to joke that the New York Times discovered menopause 2 years ago when they started writing about it. Obviously, menopause has been around for a lot longer, but the New York Times or a publication like that brings the awareness to a much higher level. Having Oprah Winfrey go on TV and talk about being in menopause, that moves the conversation forward. Having celebrities and people in the public eye and influencers talking about this gave people more comfort and started to really build the vocabulary, which is something, as I mentioned, I've spent a lot of time focused on, to actually have a conversation.